there, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Today I thought we'd go back to the mega boob loving Britain of the 1980s for a look at that forgotten combination of ghost story and big bust fetish video that is 1987's The Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen. Now these days, mention the name Peter Kay and almost everyone thinks of the comedian Peter Kay. There was, however, a man with the same name who back in the 1980s tried to make the Peter Kay name synonymous with an altogether different form of entertainment. This Peter Kay tirelessly made dozens upon dozens of big bust fetish videos, all released on his own Strand video label. Kay's tapes were extremely in touch with the British sexual mindset at the time. This was a period that saw Britain fall hard for the large-breasted models of page 3 of The Sun, and the rise of kissogram and stag party culture, and Kay's tapes were a perfect reflection of that. You couldn't claim you didn't know what you were in for with a Peter Kay tape, what with titles like Stag Show Girls, Double D-Cup Dolls, and The Sexy Secrets of the Sex Therapist. And if that didn't clue you into what these tapes were all about, their covers would often feature their topless, large-breasted stars, frequently arranged in rows in the manner of an end-of-year school photograph, and proud video cover boasts of a mega boob presentation or a boobiful film. Although Kay's filmmaking activities seem to be centred around the south coast of England, and his video company based out of the Lincolnshire industrial estate, his videos really found an appreciative home in the northwest seaside town of Blackpool and neighbouring areas. Back in the VHS era, you couldn't move in Blackpool for Kay's tapes in the bargain basement video shops. Tonally, they really fit in with all the raunchy novelty items you see in Blackpool, like edible underwear, cock-shaped rock, or blow up men, women and sheep. Pretty much until a dying day of VHS in the late 1990s, you could still walk into a Blackpool market like Price Busters and be greeted by the face of Pauline Hickey pouting at you from the numerous VHS copies there of Kay's most famous film, 1985's The Sexy Secrets of the Kissogram Girls. I first encountered Kay's The Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen, not in Blackpool, but in the slightly more sedate neighbouring town of Cleverleys. A bargain basement video shop had opened there, and naturally their shelves were full of all the usual titles that the fly-by-night video labels were putting out back then, like The Bloodbath of Dr. Jekyll, The Invisible Dead, Psycho from Texas, Naked Werewolf Woman, Exorcist 3, Cries and Shadows, all that kind of stuff. And naturally there's a Peter Kay tape amongst that bunch in the form of The Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen. A friend of mine beat me to the punch actually, and saw big boobs on the cover and had to stamp it up before I could get at it. The next day, however, when I brought up the video in conversation, I could immediately tell by expression on his face that this thing had gone down like a lead balloon with him. He then proceeded to slide the tape across the floor to where my feet were, and said the words I'd secretly been hoping to hear from him. "That was shit, you can have it if you want." Thus began my curious relationship with The Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen.
This strange story started on the day that I offered to house sit for my aunt. I arrived early, and Mary, that's my aunt, made me very welcome.
So, The Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen stars big-boobed Scottish glamour model Stacey Owen as a woman being asked to house sit for her aunt over a weekend. How does Miss Owen spend this weekend? Well, this being a big bust fetish video, in a constant state of undress would be the easy answer. She takes showers, swims naked in a pool, does exercises without a bra, and is constantly trying on her aunt's underwear. Before long, however, an uneasy feeling that she's not alone begins to creep over Stacey, and as it turns out her suspicions are completely correct, since a mysterious blonde woman keeps watching her from outside the house. Every time Stacey takes a dip in the pool or tucks into her breakfast, up pops Blondie at the window, suggestively licking her lips and clawing at the window with her large fingernails. I don't know if it was a fault with the original filmmaking or simply a dodgy video transfer, but the blonde woman's hair takes on the appearance of being green in these scenes, which only adds to the strangeness of it all. This scene is undoubtedly the ludicrous highlight of The Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen. It's a big ask of an audience to accept that a person could constantly keep missing the sight of someone standing directly behind them and staring at them from a window and blatantly within their eye shot. Yet this scene repeats this scenario over and over as the blonde woman walks into shot, stares at Stacey from the window for a few minutes, walks out of shot, at which point Stacey turns round, sees nothing, turns back, at which point the woman walks back into shot, stares at Stacey from the window a bit more, then walks out of shot, at which point Stacey turns round again, sees nothing, turns back, at which point the woman comes back into shot and stares at her a bit more and then walks out of shot, and it goes on and on and on like this for a good few minutes. I'm sure if this was a pantomime we'd all be shouting, "She's behind you!"
As I was eating, I got the strangest sensation. Although I couldn't really put my finger on it, it felt as though I was being watched from a distance. I could almost see the face, but never did.
The fact that Stacey has never laid eyes on this woman doesn't prevent her from having an erotic dream that sees the pair of them share a bath and massage each other with body oil. Or was it a dream, since when Stacey awakens the next day, she finds a wet towel and a half-empty bottle of body oil? So is Stacey going mad? Does the woman really exist? Or is the supernatural at work? I'll throw in a slight spoiler here, just to keep you interested. It's the supernatural. The case of the disappearing body oil deepens after a search of her aunt's house reveals several saucy photos of the woman from Stacey's dream, as well as a home video shot by her aunt, which features, in Stacey's own words, a beautiful, huge-titted young girl doing a very erotic striptease. Attempting to clear her head of this mysterious woman, Stacey decides on some on-the-spot jogging.
The vigorous bouncing of my hips, however, soon put all thoughts of the odd happenings out of my mind.
Fortunately, Stacey manages to avoid knocking herself out with her own knockers and finally lays eyes on the woman who has been peeking in at her. Upon confronting the female peeping Tom, Stacey discovers the woman is in fact Tracy, a friend of her aunt and a former owner of the house. The introduction's over, the two women quickly become bosom buddies and spend the weekend dancing topless and trying on even more of her aunt's lingerie, presumably stretching it out of shape in the process.
Later in the bar, I told Tracy about the video I found. She said that she enjoyed dancing and got an erotic pleasure from doing a striptease to turn on others who were watching her. She loves showing off her body, she said.
The fun and games come to an abrupt halt though, when Stacey's aunt returns home, and as Stacey is answering the door to her aunt, Tracy vanishes into thin air. Returning to find Tracy gone, Stacey is stunned by her aunt's revelation that she doesn't know anyone by that name. A bigger shock awaits Stacey when she describes Tracy to her aunt, only for her aunt to reveal that Tracy matches the description of Andrea, a glamour model who died in the house 3 months earlier, meaning that Stacey has spent the weekend flirting and frolicking with a huge-titted ghost. I'd imagine the audience Kay was playing to with these videos was a blokey stag show audience who would use these things as party tapes and as an excuse to ogle some big tits, have a laugh and have a good time. The Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen does feature some of the most side-splitting dialogue imaginable. Stacey has a particularly amusing habit of referring to her boobs in the third person and talks about how they regularly need to be taken out and given exercise, as if they were a pet dog rather than part of her own body. The irony is that The Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen is actually one of Kay's more dour works, and all the big tits on screen and all the titters that the dialogue occasionally evokes can't fully shake off the sense of isolation and loneliness as Stacey walks around her aunt's house feeling cut off from the outside world. And the location used for the film has this impersonal, soulless 1980s showroom vibe to it, which contributes to the downer atmosphere, as well as occasionally giving The Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen the appearance of those bits of film they'd use in 1980s game shows to illustrate the mod cons that the contestants could win that week, and which were invariably demonstrated by bikini-clad trolley dollies. In keeping with the censorious nature of late 80s Britain, the naughty dreams of Miss Owen often feels like a retreat back to the very early days of British exploitation, back to the film stripteases of the 8mm glamour films, or the asexual nature of 1960s nudist films, and very early Pete Walker films like School for Sex and I Like Birds, you know, those ones where Walker clearly couldn't direct a topic. What really finds favour here is the two leads relaxing topless on sun loungers, or Stacey vigorously throwing a beach ball around, rather than anything sexual. Kay's real obsession seems to lie with filming stripteases, or big busted women doing otherwise mundane household chores.
Later on, I felt hungry. I'd been out for a run round the field and didn't fancy a large meal. So I made a deliciously sticky ice cream sundae, piled high with salt.
While their content feels like a throwback to a more innocuous age, in every other respect, Kay's videos are so instantly recognisable as products of the 1980s, from their shot-on-video look to titles that seem straight out of a Commodore 64 game, the big boob obsession that's going on, and their electronic keyboard soundtracks. Whenever I watch a Peter Kay video, I'm transported back to a time in the 1980s where my grandmother bought one of these electronic keyboards. I think it was from Argos, and these machines came with their own inbuilt pieces of music. So if you couldn't have bothered to take the time to learn how to actually play it, you just had to press a button and then these generic keyboard tracks would come on and you could imagine you were playing along to them. And the music in Kay's videos always sounds like those sort of tracks. Given how strong 1980s nostalgia is at the moment, it's a pity that the Kay's videos have largely disappeared from the cultural landscape. They're extremely evocative of their era, and we haven't even mentioned the power ballad that appears 3 separate times on the Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen soundtrack. It should be said that direction of the Naughty Dreams of Miss Owen is credited to one Martin Silvero, although the fact that this came out on Kay's video label and is executed in his own distinct style means that it's a safe bet that Kay and Silvero are actually one and the same person. It's a real shame that the comedian Peter Kay has well and truly stolen Kay's thunder these days, especially as the original Peter Kay seems to have worked so hard to make his name a byword for big bus fetish videos, what with his name being prominently billed on the video boxes themselves, or on a few occasions actually worked into the film's titles. There was a brief period in time when Kay's videos were still around, and Peter Kay the comedian had come to prominence, and I'll always remember being on Blackpool Pier and observing this old woman spotting a Peter Kay big boob video, noticing the name on the video cover, and in a loud outraged voice remarking, "Peter Kay?" And I'm sure even to this day she's still walking around thinking that the comedian Peter Kay has this secret career sideline directing big boob videos. Anyway, that's your lot, so all that remains for me to say is good night and God bless.